In today's video, let's see the case study of Cosco Busan oil spill disaster. Bunker fuel was dumped into San Francisco Bay after the cargo ship Cosco Busan was struck by the Delta Tower of the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge in dense fog on November 7, 2007. While flying a cargo ship in the Pacific Ocean, maritime pilot John Cota was incapacitated due to prescription medication usage. Because of his participation in the event, Cota was sentenced to 10 months in federal prison. California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger declared a state of emergency after meeting federal, state and local officials overseeing the cleanup. Let's see the causes. National Transportation Safety Board found that pilot John Cota's cognitive impairment and the lack of extensive pre-departure master or pilot exchange were factors in his death. Because of Cota's medical history, the U.S. Coast Guard failed to provide sufficient medical monitoring. Investigative reports from the worldwide marine community have revealed that inadequate human-machine interface design might be a factor in such incidents, even though human error is typically cited as the primary reason without further study of HMI flaws. Human-machine interactions have been acknowledged as a key component in aircraft accidents for decades, but there has been a dearth of study into incidents at sea, and a hasty labeling of the causes as human mistake. However, despite the fact that the investigation report might establish that the parties engaged in the disaster acted in an unethical manner, the actual reasons of such an accident as the cargo ship Cosco Busan remain a mystery. Man-machine interfaces that are poorly designed, information processing problems, and other issues go mostly unnoticed. Senate Minority Leader Barbara Boxer and San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom criticized the Coast Guard's reaction, pointing out that its early estimates of 100 to 400 U.S. gallons of oil were much lower than the total leak. U.S. authorities filed a lawsuit against the ship and its pilot on Friday, November 30, 2007. A plea bargain was offered by the corporation. Fleet paid $10 million in fines and reparations to resolve this federal criminal prosecution. Captain John Cota's errors, according to a study issued by the California State Board of Pilot Commissioners on October 23, 2008, caused the leak. 7 significant mistakes were noted in the 18-page study, including Cota's failure to accurately read an electronic chart aboard the ship, sailing in fog so dense that he could barely see 200 feet ahead, and traveling at a hazardous pace. There were 7 accusations against Cota, including leaking oil and killing federally protected birds. This includes a sentence of 2 to 10 months in jail, as well as a $3,000 to $30,000 fine. Final civil settlement announced by federal, state, and municipal authorities for $44.4 million on September 19, 2011. So, what's the impact? A vast region of the California North Coast was affected by the spill, including the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, Ocean Beach, and Marin Headlands, due to tidal dynamics in San Francisco Bay. In addition to Crissy Field and Fort Point, Baker Beach and Kirby Cove were also restricted to the public. In the aftermath of the spill, the beaches in California as far south as Pacifica had been blocked by November 14, 2007. However, the beaches and shorelines were reopened. Since the East Bay and Rodeo Beach were the most damaged areas, the government agencies responsible for cleanup and rehabilitation put a lot of work into them. A total of 6,849 birds are believed to have died as a result of the leak, according to federal and state natural resource trustee authorities. Herring eggs, which are normally deposited in December, were destroyed in the spilled regions. Spill is thought to have destroyed 14% to 29% of the herring spawn from 2007 to 2008. Some Bay Area fisheries may have been adversely affected, as well as a delay of several weeks in the crab and sport fishing seasons. When tested, mussels from Rodeo Beach and the Berkeley Pier were found to contain dangerous amounts of pollutants. There was a loss of 1,079,900 recreational days due to the spill. As early as the early 1990s, governmental agencies issued warnings against the engagement of volunteers and attempted to steer them into non-contact roles. United States Coast Guard asked volunteers to clean non-oily beaches, and they were successful. In the end, the training was expanded to include a 4-hour disaster service worker volunteer certification. To begin with, the Cosco Busan oil disaster deterred people from cleaning beaches. San Francisco Bay Oil Wildlife Care and Education Center received the oil-soaked birds in crates. Rehabilitated bird populations are already returning to the wild. Cosco Busan sailed out of San Francisco Bay on December 21, 2007 bound for Busan, South Korea with a new crew on board. 3 weeks ahead of time and $500,000 under budget, repairs to the bridge fender were completed for $1.5 million, 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Hope you liked this video. If you have any questions or comments, please drop it in comment box. For more such videos, subscribe to MarinAura.